Fellow Toastmasters, we all speak English. Does English, does it need to change? Yes, it does. What's wrong with the English alphabet? It's inefficient. Letters are ambiguous, which means there are multiple meanings, and it should change. Every day I see this in my classroom. Some students just don't understand. In contrast, the Korean alphabet is very efficient. For instance, letters only produce one sound. There's no ambiguity, which means if you see a symbol, it does not change. As soon as you learn it, you know. There's a rule. Rules are meant to be followed. Here's the English alphabet. We all know this. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, Y, and Z. Is there anything wrong? The offenders. Z, Q, and X. Do we need them? Let's find out. The first offender, the letter C. There's no need for it. Eradicate C. Letters such as K and S can replace them. For instance, cat. You don't need C. Spell it cat. Sight. If you say cite a reference, use an S. There's really no need for C. So if you see C, get out of here. You don't need C. The second letter, Q. Well, what is this Q? It serves no function. The letter K is sufficient. For example, quick, spell it like that. My students spell it like this, and it actually makes perfect sense. Quack, that goes quack, quack, quack. Spell it like that, quack. Wait, this is a Korean thing. Q. Q can be spelled K-U-K-Y-U. You don't need Q. So if you see Q, get it out. Don't need Q. The third letter, S. You don't need X. This letter contains ambiguity too, but it's worse. The letter combinations, K, S, and Z can replace it. Let's take a look. Wax. Spell it like this, W-A-K-S. Xylophone. Oh, here's a fun one. Spell it with a Z. Xerox. Whoa, this is special. There's X and X, but it produces two different sounds. Use a Z and a KS. So if you see the X, no, you don't need that.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it. Abolishing letters is not unprecedented. It's happened before. Russian eliminated these letters in 1918. The communists, they thought ahead. Some of their ideas were not so good. But this one, boom, they nailed it. And Korean has eliminated a few non-essential letters. Who recognizes this symbol? This one's a little different. There's a little dot on top of the O. Who's this? Who's that guy? A long time ago, your ancestors realized we don't need them. Get out. These letters are not needed and should be eliminated. However, the English alphabet requires a few more letters with these distinctive sounds. You need ch, in, sh, and th. In Spanish, ch has its own letter. If you look at the Spanish alphabet in Spain, this is part of it. So that's curious. The first new letter, ch. It creates a sound combination unlike C and H. You've got to combine it. It exists in Korean, this. Change, chore, church, and chocolate. I like chocolate.
Don't touch mine.
English could use its own symbol to distinguish the ch sound. New letter, in. Similarly, this sound gets its own symbol in Korean. You use this, the O. English should have the same. This letter combination sounds similar to N, but it's not quite the same thing. I have a friend in Canada. His family name is In. When I first saw it, I didn't know how to pronounce it. There's no vowel. I am seen in running and sweating. This needs its own symbol. The third letter, sh. This letter combination has a distinctive sound. Sadly, Korean, you guys, uses the same symbol for S and sh. No, it's not the same. No. You use this symbol for s and sh. No, you guys, no. Shelly says she sells down by the seashore. The fourth new letter. This is my favorite. Th. This sound is restricted to English. Germans and Koreans both have a difficult time pronouncing this. Interestingly, a symbol for it already exists right there. But it never got included into the alphabet. What happened? Theodore thinks the three thin thumbs are thicker than the thorn. Let's use this symbol for th. Theodore thinks that three thin thumbs are thicker than the, wait a minute. What does that word say? This symbol needs to be in the alphabet. Here's the revised English alphabet with my letters. A, B, Ch, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, Sh, T, Th, U, V, W, Y, and Z. Do you think Korean could use some new letters? In Hangul, there are no sounds for these letters. F, L, Th, V, and Z. Example, if you write down the word fork, with Korean you get this. When you write it back, you get pork. Leak. You write it down like that. You get reek. Not the same. Thinking. This turns into sinking. What are you thinking about? Vice. Written like this, you get vice. No, not the same. Here's my name. I encounter this all the time. My name is Zing. Koreans write it down like this, and I get Jing. On many forms, my name is Mark Jing. No, it's not my name. It's not that hard. Korean needs distinctive sound symbols for R and L. This is really, really important. Confusion arises every day. In Korean, the same symbol is used for both sounds. Creates confusion. Here's a prime example. What does that say? Does it say right, light, or light? This character, he's from a video game in the late 80s. His name is Dr. Wright, but his name is also Dr. Light. How did that happen? In Japan, it's written like that. He's a Japanese character, but Japanese suffers from the same thing as English, where it doesn't distinguish very well between R and L. So they asked the Japanese company, what's his name? Dr. Wright. What? Dr. Wright? In the manual, it will say his name is Dr. Wright and Dr. Light. Well, which one is it? Korean needs distinctive symbols, sound symbols for tim and team. Here's another problem. This vowel sound is very different. For example, tim and team are both written like that. That's not the same. The same thing applies with these words. Dean, din, Dean, din. I have a coworker. His name is Dean, but then the students call him Din. Mean and min. Not the same. Korean can use a distinctive vowel sound here. Korean's not perfect. Without sufficient vowel distinction, confusion arises. Korean has more problems. It gets worse. Some words simply cannot be written consistently with Hangul due to ineffective sound symbols. Sheets. You would write this word like that. but then when you translate it back to English, C's. You use the same symbol to represent 3 different sound combinations. Fizz. Written like that, you get pitch. Fifth. Chips. I've been told by Koreans that their language is perfect. No, it's not. Ugh. Every language needs revision, not just English. French, German, Spanish, Russian, Japanese, Chinese. Which is better? A language that is inefficient or one that is efficient? English and Korean should follow in the steps of other dialects, like Spanish and Russian. If something needs to be fixed or added to it, it may be inconvenient for us, but the next generation will